Okay, I'm live. Add. All right. Rachel has joined. We will try to get Christine. Hey.
Hello. Oh,
Oh, you came first.
I know. It's unusual. Usually it takes me a lot of tries.
Let me try to get Rachel again. She sent the request, I think, while I was sending the invite. So let's see. Hi.
Hi. Love it.
Thank you for coming, Livy.
Hey.
Hey,
Oh,
Rachel.
Oh my
wait.
gosh, it's
Hey.
working. Technical difficulties out the wazoo, but that's fine for you
This
guys.
is
I said to Kara, what you don't know is you're dealing with the Bermuda Triangle of technology over here. This is
Literally.
actually the smoothest start to any live we've ever had. So
Oh my
there's
God.
that.
Well, okay, so I was messaging you, and this is why I was like on my phone, I was getting, you've missed a call. You've missed a call. And I'm like, I'm right here. I I didn't miss anything.
All right. Well, at least it worked when it counted. We're here. We're
Right.
live very quickly. A few minutes ahead of schedule. We're gonna have 20 people here. This is amazing.
it is.
Whoa.
I know. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Yes, very much.
And this is actually Rachel and my first time meeting face to face. I think you've talked to
Yeah,
Karen before, but this is awesome. I followed you for a very long time. I've learned so much
same.
from your page. So this is really great to be connecting
I'm
like
like
this.
lurking in the background, liking your post. I'm like, oh,
We've been lurking.
Christine.
We've been lurking on each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's oh my gosh, yeah, coming up on well, I started my account like over a year ago, but I remember you were there like right at the beginning. So I'm like, Christine's been here for a bit.
Yes, I followed you when you had only like a couple hundred followers, and then all
I
of a sudden you
remember
have like
that.
40,000 plus, and I'm like, okay, we need to talk to Rachel and learn like everything she knows. And I mean, you're like me, you don't even have a book out yet, versus
Right, yeah.
Kara's got two books out. And so we're all like coming at this from like slightly different points of view, which I think is going to be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I This is like one of my favorite topics to talk about, which I think is weird because most people are like, ew, marketing. But also there's so much to learn from like other people. So I'm like, I have my notebook too.
Amazing. Amazing. And you know what? I went to college for marketing, but like social media wasn't even a thing when I went to
Yeah.
college. I'm not going to say how old I am, but I kind of just did. The whole game has changed since then. So
Mhm.
we have to have these conversations so we can just keep on top of it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Um,
Awesome. Awesome.
Rachel, what Christine and I kind of figured out, and I think you're sort of in the same boat, is that she and I kind of started like Instagram right at the same time. So
Hmm.
Instagram kind of like lumped us all together.
Yeah.
I just celebrated my January or July 21st or something like that was my year anniversary too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Right around the same time. I created the account February of last year, but I don't think I posted anything until July. So
yeah.
I
Oh,
call
that's
July like my
interesting.
start date because I was doing a different thing at the time and that account was garbage. And then I was like, well, I have this other little bitty one that two people follow me on. I'll try that.
Okay, I want to come back to that actually because that's very interesting. But
Yeah.
before we do, because we kind of, as always, just jumped right in, I think most people here probably know, well, maybe not actually, because I think a lot of people who are
Yeah.
joining are coming because of you, Rachel. So, Kara, do you want to just give like a quick intro of like what the Writing Coffee Talk is, and then we can each introduce ourselves real quick?
Sure. Actually, it is sort of the trying to or doing it, joining of two kind of worlds that should be together, but aren't. And because there's all kinds of room at the table. So Christine is doing a trad pub. I'm doing an indie author publishing situation. So we're trying to come together and show everybody working together is really good. It no way is bad or good. It's all just let's help each other.
We're all just writers, and I think what Kara and I noticed is that a lot of indie authors are talking about indie authorship, trad, talking about trad. There aren't a whole lot of places where we're all just talking together, comparing, contrasting. One's not better than the other. We're all writers. We can all learn from each other. Hybrid authorship is bigger than ever. And so that's what we're here to do. And Rachel, I think you were thinking about querying and now you've pivoted and are going to do more of an indie journey, which could
Mm-hmm.
change down the road, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
I think you're like a perfect example of how this is just an evolution for all of us.
exactly. Yeah.
So, Rachel, why don't you
Okay,
introduce
it's
yourself
my
first?
turn.
Not to put you on the spot, and then Kara and I can give our little bios, and then we'll get into it.
Absolutely. Okay, so my name's Rachel. If you don't know me, I'm a writing coach. I started Instagram to teach writers how to write because I love doing that. I have a book that I was going to query and try to traditionally publish, and then I did some research and realizing that that's not what I wanted anymore. So now I'm working on more of an indie publishing situation. And I think most of what I do all day is just talking with other writers from all different walks of life, literally almost every single continent, tons and tons of different languages. Is crazy the amount of different types of people that I come into contact with every day. And that's what I do. That's my full-time job. It is pretty cool for me.
And that is so amazing because Kara was telling me, which I didn't realize, that you have been able to scale this into a full-time job
Yeah.
in basically a year, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like today to shine a light on like how you've used marketing, social media marketing in particular, to be able to do that and how big of a role that plays in your business would be so great to hear. So we'll come back to that, but that's like
Yeah,
one of my
absolutely.
personal
Without a
questions.
book too. Like I don't have a book out yet. So that's an important thing we can think about later.
Exactly, exactly. And I am in the same boat, so I want to hear more about that. So someone just joined. They said, "Can we just get a quick brief on what this is?" So real quick, in general, coffee talk is just bringing together trad and indie writers, trad and indie publishing topics in one place to create an open forum. I'm Christine. I am a romance and romantasy writer. My first book, Kingdom of the Owl, is a romantasy. It's currently on submission for traditional publishing. And in terms of looping in an update here, I just finished writing my debut contemporary romance novel and sent it to my agent on Tuesday, which is very exciting.
So
And I'm waiting
exciting.
to see what he thinks. I'm hoping he likes it. He doesn't usually rep romance, so I threw him a total curveball, but we'll see what he says. And I am drinking Stoke Cold Brew in a Harry Potter cup.
Nice. Was I supposed to say what I'm drinking? Because I just have black coffee. That's it.
That's
I love
good.
your mug. It looks fun.
Yeah, it's one of the new Starbucks ones for Ohio. I collect these and I have like three generations of them. So this is the
So
Ohio
cute.
one.
Love
That
it.
is awesome. And Rachel and I are in the same state, which is really funny too. And Christine, you're
Yeah.
just a few states over, so that algorithm does do something.
Yeah.
Um, I am Carazone. I am indie published. I have my own imprint, and I kind of do it all. And sometimes I do it all wrong, and then I make mistakes, and I learn my lessons and do it a different way. I have two novels out. Both are dark fantasy romance, not dark romance, but dark fantasy romance. And I'm also a romantasy writer. I have two novellas that fall under those categories. I'm expanding them right now, so those will be out as full-length novels in 2026.
Fantastic. So
So
exciting.
exciting. And Kara's books are amazing. And I just started an editing side hustle and was lucky enough to edit Kara's most recent book. So we've been working
Wow.
together in that
I've
capacity
read
too. It's been
Kara's
so fun.
books and they're
They're
great.
they're so great. They're awesome.
I do have to say that Christine edited when she had a broken leg also, and she still finished on deadline and everything like that. So it was really cool.
Christine's just a
Your
superhero. That's just
your
it.
books kept me busy while I was laying in a hospital bed. Honestly, it did. I didn't want to think about being in the hospital. I lived in the Umberlands. It was awesome.
Oh my
I
goodness.
I'm drinking cinnamon iced tea right now.
I love that for
Love
you.
it. Love
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so let's get into it. So we always start with a quick this week's indie versus trad hot take. So Kara, this was your hot take this week. You want to tee it up?
So like even so we were going to talk about the smaller parts of marketing. At the beginning of July, I was in a Stuff Your ebook Kindle event. And what I did with that was there were like 145 authors, all this stuff. I got 5,000 downloads. I hit number two on dark fantasy romance. I hit number three on dark fantasy horror. I was number 66 in the whole Kindle store free, like out of all the books. And I did this between the marketing with your stuff, your Kindle, that was all organic. That wasn't even like paid. And then I did end up paying for a little bit of a promo to stack on that. and it worked. So it was really weird. So I think that a lot of people don't utilize their organic tools enough. So
Hmm.
would love to help people figure that out more.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so true. And actually, that's something you can do. I've seen like my trad author friends, their publishers do stuff like that too, where they put a book on BookBub or like 99 cents for like a week or two. And what it does is it gets you then to that bestseller threshold where you're selling a certain, because the book is basically free or almost free. And then you have a whole new way to market it. You can say, oh, I'm a best-selling Amazon best-selling author. And all of a sudden you've got these like, which you kind of did, Kara. I
I
feel like you were
did.
like you were in that threshold. So that's, yeah, that's a really awesome point.
Well,
Yeah.
and one other thing, I'm so sorry. One other thing, I went to a event in Nashville, Tennessee last week, and we gathered up about five of us, and we did this really fun collab post. But on top of that, we were doing this really kick-ass giveaway. Somebody saw somebody talking about my book. She came to the slow burn just for me, which is totally fucking crazy. Like
That's
I couldn't
awesome.
even wrap my head around it. And she, right? Like it's just, she told me, she's like, I saw this on TikTok. So it really is like
That's
the
a great
smallest thing.
feeling. I
I
make me like
know.
cried a little bit. Like, what?
You should do a reel on that. That's amazing. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. Thank you.
100%.
But
Wow.
so the small things really do pay off. And
Yeah.
anybody can do them too. Like you can join a giveaway, you can join a Stuff Your Kindle event. So
Yeah. Well, and when you get those like, the volume of people, if they grab your book for free, they're not actually grabbing it for free because you're getting their intellectual real estate in exchange and word of mouth marketing. So the off chance that they're going to talk about your book to somebody else, that is gold and you can't buy that, right? And so
yeah,
when you do like a huge giveaway or when you do like the stuff, not only do you get to the top of the bestseller list, but you also have, if one out of 100 people talk about your book to somebody else, you need more hundreds of people to talk about it and you're going to get more natural organic marketing and you don't spend a dime on that, and that
yeah,
is huh, amazing.
yeah.
Congrats, I'm so happy for you.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's such a critical nugget the way you just kind of like framed that, Rachel, because I don't know if you guys follow Books on the Grange, but they both worked in publishing a long time. And one of the things that I learned from them is like social media marketing doesn't necessarily translate or automatically convert into book sales. There's not like
Yeah,
always this one-to-one correlation. Where there is a stronger correlation is between word of mouth or
Hmm.
buzz and book sales. And so what
Yes.
you need to figure out how to do, like you just said, Kara, is turn social media marketing into this word of mouth explosion. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. But that's really what you're trying to drive is buzz around your book.
Yeah,
That's what's going to get you to
exactly.
sales.
yeah,
Exactly. And it's a long-term process too. It's not overnight. It takes weeks to months to years, but it pays off. It's amazing.
Amazing, amazing. All right, so let's get into the questions. I'm going to kind of moderate because I think Kara's marketing books. She actually has something to sell. Rachel, you've like marketed your book coaching business. You've grown it so much. You guys have a lot to share here. So we're going to start with like flipping this on its head a little bit. What is your least favorite form of marketing that you've done that you have to do? Like, what do you hate maybe, but you have to do it anyway? Let's hear it.
Ooh.
go ahead,
Is it just
Rachel.
social media in general?
Pick somebody and you have to cut me off because I talk too much. So
Go ahead, Rachel. You go first.
Oh, you go first.
oh my gosh. I think honestly direct marketing is awful for me. And it's not necessarily because I don't like doing it. It's because I am somebody who I personally, and direct marketing by the way is when you go to somebody and you say, "Will you buy my product?" And it's necessary. You have to do it because at some point you have to ask for the sale. But I don't like doing it because in general, I prefer to get to know somebody first and it takes a long time and building a relationship takes a long time, and so while I'm like, I do need to ask for the sale, I would prefer them to just be like, oh yeah, I know you have a product, I'll buy it. but but it takes time and you have to get good at it and you have to do it, and that's just part of the process.
And how do you typically navigate that? Are you like doing most of your direct marketing through social media, or is a lot of it like you're getting on calls with people and having to like actually pitch them? Like, tell us a little bit about how your marketing
Yeah.
process works.
So it used to be, well, it still is. On my social media, I usually try to do a direct pitch a day. So this is my product. This is how it helps you. Do you want it? Yes or no? That's a direct pitch. Then I also try to do a how to or a communication pitch, which is basically here's how to do something, or here I am as a person. If you want to know more, here's how I can help you. Here's the product. Those are the two different types. In the beginning, it was all of that, and it was really exhausting. Now it's
Mm.
sort of been growing. I've got more of that word of mouth presence. I have referrals now. I have people. I don't really have to do like sales calls or like emails anymore. But I have people that are be like, hey, you've got this problem. Rachel's a book coach and she's really good at solving it. That's sort of
Yeah.
developed over time, but it's taken over a year to start developing that rapport with people where they're like, oh, I don't know how to do XYZ. Rachel does, and they call me. But in the beginning, it was all just direct pitch, direct pitch, direct pitch. And I sounded like a broken record, and it was really annoying, and I hated it, but I got really good at it. And that's actually how I ended up scaling my business to what it is now.
And I think that's actually, well, first of all, again, word of mouth, right? Word of mouth is what
Exactly.
gave you that success, whether you're selling a book or selling your service or selling yourself.
Hmm.
Um, I think what's really interesting is what you just said. You felt like a broken record, but you did it anyway. I mean, I feel like if we could have everyone who's listening in raise their
Yes.
hand on if they're scared of feeling like a broken record or
Oh my
having people
gosh.
unfollow them because they keep saying the same thing over and over, but that worked for you. And I think it works
Exactly.
for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and I can tell you why too. So the indie industry, no matter what you're selling, whether it's yourself, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, most people, in fact, yeah, just about everybody has to see something between 7 and 14 times before they'll make a decision to engage with it. That means liking, that means commenting, that means sharing, that means following, that means buying. Anytime they want to engage with you, most people have to see it 7 times or more. So if you make content and it's not very good, which all of us start from somewhere, my content stank the first, I don't know, 6 months I did it. Sometimes it still does. People have to see it 7 to 14 times before they follow you. Same thing to comment, same thing to buy. You have to post so much volume to reach the same people that many times before they even make a decision to engage with you or buy your stuff. You have to be relentless. And by the way, if you post something and it stinks, no one's going to see it anyway. Who
Yep.
cares? Just keep
That's such
going.
a good point. Oh my gosh. Do you know I'm taking notes over here? And I know I can go back and watch this, but I'm like, this is all gold.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad to help. Glad to help.
I'm
Thank
taking
you,
notes too,
Kara.
Christine. Well, we have a question. I'm sorry, I can't even try to pronounce your handle. I'm not great at that. But it's asking, is it fine if I'm publishing a novella as my debut? I'm packed with studies and all. You're 17, correct? Or you're uh,
I saw that
minor?
as well. A teen writer is coming in with this question about starting with a novella.
I think it's perfectly fine. It's still going to be the same amount of work, whatever
Mhm.
you have a story, so make sure you tell it. And if it comes out as a novella, that's great. It'll make room for more later.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
as as for your schedule and stuff, you kind of have to judge that. And if it feels too much, just pare back because your studies are school are obviously important.
Yeah, and I would say consider like alternative ways as well that you can share your story with the world, maybe like a little bit at a time. So like Wattpad and there's another website. I don't know if it's AO3 or something like that, but there are these sites where you can share a little bit at a time. So a novella is like longer than a short story, but shorter than a novel. So I think it's usually between like 15 and 50,000 words would be a novella. But like something like Wattpad, you could share like a chapter a week or a chapter even a month, and people will read it and give you comments and hype you, and then you can keep adding to it. And so you kind of like slow roll something out there with like a lower level of commitment than like getting a whole book published and like, promoting it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you for your
Awesome.
question. Also, I just wanted to make sure we got to that question.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I'm glad I wrote it down, but I'm glad you just called it out because they're waiting. So the next question is, if you had to pick one marketing tactic that's brought you the most success, what would it be? Rachel, you go first.
Word of mouth.
Word of
Every
mouth.
time. I think, yeah, between being a broken record and having other people talk about it, I mean, you have to have social proof. Social proof is when other people say, "Oh yeah, you're a real person." And I think growing a larger account helps with that because people automatically trust a larger account a little bit more. But in the beginning, it was I would do something or I would help somebody with a product, and then they would go tell all of their friends, and then they would come to me and say, "Hey, you helped my friend. Can you help me too?" Then I would have that sort of social proof to stand on, and that's what ended up growing out my account and my business the most.
This is an interesting topic. I'd love to like dig into this idea of social proof a little bit more
Yeah.
in two different ways. Because I think, Kara, when you have a book, social proof, it becomes maybe like your street team or your ARC readers
Mhm.
Yeah.
shouting it from the rooftops, or even like reviews on Goodreads. But when you're, more of an influencer, or you're selling a service through your account, it really is people talking about you either on their page or just one on one with their friends. So, like, Rachel, when do you do anything to encourage people to share with others, or did this just happen organically? Like, do you literally say when you're done, if you were happy, tell all your friends, or you just kind of let them do what they do and it happens?
I don't typically ask people to share on my behalf. I definitely think that's actually probably an oversight on my part because if you want someone to do something, you should ask them. Don't assume that they will. But what I have done that I think has been very effective is, again, building that relationship with an individual person, not seeing them as a customer, seeing them as a person with a need that I can fill, becoming, usually on a first name basis with them. And I'm talking about people that I coach over 12 months or so. Then
Yeah.
in through conversation, they'll probably bring up, oh, well, my friend, yada, yada, yada. I'll be like, well, this is how they can help. I can help them with that. And then they'll come to me. On top of that, though, when someone does organically mention me, like on Instagram, for example, rewarding them immediately for that, answering a comment, answering a story, answering, sometimes when people mention me, I'll do a post about them or I always try to answer my comments. I don't always get to all of them, but making sure they know that I can see them because I can, and that what they do is important, and making them
Yeah.
realize that what they're doing is also special. I think a mistake that some people make when they're growing an account or a business or a book is they try to be like a Taylor Swift level celebrity right away, and they try to be aloof, and then they don't engage with the people that are following them. And so when somebody goes out of their way to mention you, they're like, oh, well, I'm invisible anyway, and they don't have that reward for that. And so I think just that positive reinforcement that, yes, what you do is really important, that makes all the difference. And I actually
Yeah.
had somebody tell me not too long ago, they were like, when I'm around you and when we talk, even if there's like 12 other people like in the conversation, I always feel like you're talking directly to me.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
that to me, I
Yeah.
was like, yes, because I've been in rooms where I'm with one of my heroes or with one of my mentors, and I'm like, I am invisible. I am tiny. I'm still learning, but I'm not important. When someone feels important, they're going to want to build that bond with you, and they're
Mhm.
naturally going to want to talk about it to other people. And you know, that's an important thing. That's a real connection.
Yeah. And oh, go ahead, Kara. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say to sort of jump off on that. I've been doing indie publishing since 2019, but I didn't have a book out.
Hmm.
And so when I was trying to explain to people, not necessarily the writing group or the people that I was building a connection with, like, but when I was talking to potential clients, they would be like, "Well, you don't know what you're doing because where is your proof?" And I'm like, "Well, I have proof. You just they're not as big level names or anything like that. But
Yeah.
now I do have a book out. I am a bestseller.
Yes,
Somebody
you
did
are.
comment TikTok. I did sell out it at a at an event like within an hour and a half. So like I have all of that stuff backing me up. And while I wish that I would have been like people were like, oh yeah, I totally believe you. Um, they do need to see that.
Yeah.
So actually, this raises a question that I don't even know if it's on our list, but it just occurred to me based on what you both said. How do you like brag about yourself without bragging about yourself, right? Like, you need to tell people, like, I have something to offer that you can learn from, or I have social proof, I have credentials. But you don't want to come off as like aloof or arrogant, or like, you need to thread that needle of like vulnerable and a real person. But hey, like, I want to teach you, you can learn from me, or my book is great, here's why. Like, Rachel, how do you thread that needle?
Well, I think it comes back to the number one most important thing I ever learned about marketing, and something a mentor told me that changed my mind on how I see sales in general. When you are selling something to somebody, you have to see it as they win. So the person you're talking to is the winner in the conversation. A lot of people approach sales, whether it's selling themselves, their brand, their book, and they say, I'm trying to get your money. That's how they come off. And that's slimy, and no one likes that, right? Even if they don't mean it to be. So when
Yeah.
you approach a conversation with, I want to make sure you win, you, the consumer, you, the reader, you, the person engaging with me, that changes how you talk and it changes how you carry yourself. So when I talk to a customer, for example, every now and again I'll do a sales call. I really don't like it anymore because it's just a lot of time. But when I do, I will approach the conversation with, these are the things you're struggling with. Here's everything I can do to help you hit that thing and get that goal. And then the social proof or the actual proof, my degree, my experience, the other people I've worked with, that doesn't feel like bragging anymore because it's
Yeah.
crucial information they need to go do the thing they want to do that I'm claiming I can help them do. It's not, it's not weird because I'm trying to help them win. Like a coach, I'm trying to help them run the race. I'm not trying to get them to pay me, although payment is important. I'm trying to
Yeah.
help them go and actually do the thing they're trying to do. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
It did, and I
I
think what it
think
boils
so.
down to is you want to make your customer, your target audience, your followers feel important. And I think
Yeah.
everything you just said is awesome. And I think the other thing that I've learned, because I actually worked in sales for 8 years before I became an author, and I think one thing I learned is you always start with questions. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder to do in a post, but we know that if you start an Instagram caption with a question and you end with a question, you
Yes.
automatically boost your engagement because people are going
Mm-hmm.
to answer that question in the caption. And
Yep.
then Lindy just brought this up. Answer if you can. It must be really hard when you have 40,000 followers, but in the beginning, try to answer every single comment or
Yeah.
respond. Um, there's something called, I think, like jab, jab, knockout or something like that. It's a sales tool where, like, basically the first two times you interact with someone, you just ask questions back and forth. So they
Yeah.
say something, you ask a follow up question. They answer it, you ask another follow up question. And then the third time, you come in with your pitch.
Yeah.
And by then, they're so much more engaged because you got them talking about themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
people love to talk about themselves and feel important. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I think the extent that
Well,
you can ask questions.
and another example, I just did this because I think it was a good thing, but I'm not 100% sure. But I did sell out at the thing, but we were like an hour and a half in, and my husband's like, "Oh my God, we're gone. What can we do?" And I was like, "Well, I have signed copies on Etsy, so I'll just start pushing those and give them a large PR box." But it worked. So what I did was more like, "Hey, if this ever happens to you guys," I put it in the writing group, "if this ever happens to you, this is an option that you can take." So, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I just sent out like 20 freaking signed copies yesterday.
That's amazing.
That's
Wow, look at you
amazing.
go.
And I think it's a good lead into our next question because I think I'll read the question, but I think some of the answer to this is just about being willing to pivot and being flexible. So this came from Kaylee Roan writes, and she said, the thing I'm struggling with the most is that I'm getting decent engagement on social media, but I'm not really making any sales, which we kind of talked about already with the word of mouth thing, but I'm feeling like I'm missing something. I don't even know what that is. What do you guys think,
It takes
Kara?
time. No, it just takes time, Kaylee. I mean, I know your book launched a few weeks ago or just now, like in the last month, and I'm sorry I don't remember the launch date, but it just takes time. It's every single indie author goes through it. And if I am not marketing my book in some way, I'm not selling. And it's not because my book isn't good and it's not because I don't have the right metadata. It's just that people won't see it. So it
Yeah.
really is coming up with those creative ways like the stuff your Kindle events, like giveaways, like that kind of stuff. And I had all that success with the one stuff your Kindle event, and then all of those people bought my book too. Not all of them, but a lot. A big. I was really surprised at how many
Yeah,
people, but
Yeah.
it still wasn't like a landslide number. It's just it really is a waiting game and trying
Yeah.
things.
yeah. What do you think,
Yeah.
Rachel?
Well, I think it helps to look at the numbers too. So let's look at industry standards. Again, that 7 to 14% of 7 to 14 times someone's going to have to see it before they even decide to engage with you. That's the first thing to remember. The second is that industry average. So if you're doing everything absolutely perfectly right, only 2% of your people will ever actually buy from you. So out of 100 people visiting your page, 2% on a good day will buy. Now, there's a lot to be said about refining your pitch, refining your presentation. You got to make sure that you're doing that right. But at the end of the day, you've just got to get hundreds and hundreds of people looking at it to start making those numbers that actually, move the needle a little bit. And I think over time, I mean, my sales pages, I've gotten them up to 8%. That's after literally all I do all day is track data. All I do is figure out the right thing to say about one thing. I talk about it all the time and it's my full-time job. So I wouldn't say my book's not selling. If you've made a single sale, it's
Yeah.
selling. I would say you need to increase the volume of people on your sales page, wherever that is. Learn how to refine your pitch, and then just start pushing as many people as you can all day, every day. And that's how you're going to see those numbers increase.
Yeah, I think, I come at these types of questions sometimes because my background is market research, and we'll do a ton of surveys for big, huge, like Fortune 100 companies
Yeah.
tracking their brand. So they will put out a new advertising campaign, and they're reaching millions of people, and still their awareness, their engagement is not moving. And we always tell them it takes 6 months to a year of
Yeah.
thousands of people, millions of people seeing this new message for you to see them buying more of your product. So
Yeah.
as a team of one, right, as an author, that's so hard to hear because you're putting so much work into it, but just like
Mhm.
stay the course, keep using the data, keep pivoting. The other thing I'm curious for you guys is like, how much we got a question in the chat about like other social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Lemonade, Threads. Those are important, but also beyond that, like how important is it to diversify outside just social media when you're thinking about, I think Kara in particular, like selling books, but in general, Kara, we'll start with you on that one.
Honestly, my brain does not work well if it's spread out everywhere. So my goal was to figure out social media. I hadn't been on since 2010, so I had to like figure all this out.
Yeah.
Figure out Instagram. I took a master class. I it's kind of almost running itself at this point. I still go in and engage because I really do like that one-on-one relationships with people, but I'm not needing to make content as much. I have a PA, she's making content too, so there's that.
Yeah.
She said that she suggested that I branch out to TikTok. When I go to TikTok, my brain like literally fries. So she handles my TikTok stuff. But I really do just sit in Instagram. I think it's important to branch out when you're comfortable, but don't spread yourself out so much that you can't actually build anything while
Mhm.
you're trying to build things.
But you
Yeah.
did also, so I think, okay, you can pick one social media platform
Yeah,
and really lean into that, but you
yeah,
also do a ton offline. I remember when you came up with a branding kit and you were like pounding the pavement, going to
yeah,
bookstores, selling yourself, your book.
yeah.
And, these book cons, these book events, like you just sold out. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really important too. Rachel, go ahead.
Yeah, I think like kind of echoing what Kara said, do what you can handle. And here's what my experience has taught me. It is better to do one thing really, really well than five things really, really poorly.
Hmm.
So even if your growth feels slow, because you're on Instagram and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm posting a bunch of times, I'm not growing as much, I'm not, even if you're doing that, you're still learning from it. And it's better to become a master at Instagram, get hundreds of thousands of followers, start getting sales, start getting, deals, start, talking with other people, whatever your goals are, than it is to do Instagram, post a bunch, get frustrated with it, go do something else, and then be inconsistent. It feels slow in the beginning. It's not. And this is what my business coach hammered this into my brain. Cause I was like, oh, I'm gonna do YouTube, I'm gonna do Instagram, I'm gonna do emails, I'm gonna do blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, you're gonna set yourself up for overwhelm and failure because even though it feels slow right now, 100% of your focus needs to be on that one platform. It has nothing to do with what's right or what's wrong or should I be or should it has to do with you as a person in your brain. So I really think it's mastering it. And then how you know you've mastered it is, can I do it on autopilot? Can I post to Instagram, consistently make sales, consistently grow, and consistently get the metrics I need to get? Once that's on autopilot, that's how you know you can move on. Or as my coach says, one platform, scale one product to $1 million for 1 year. Once you do all those four things, I know, and it's a lot, but it works. And that's literally following that method is how I've been growing my account, and it's still growing every single day.
Yeah.
So, how much time do you spend a day or a week creating content for Instagram? And like, how do you, because we did get a question in here, and actually, we're going to do a
Yeah.
whole floppy talk on this in a month or two about how do
Hmm.
you balance it all? Like, not if you're lucky enough to write or run your account full time or coach or do something writing related full time, that's amazing. But most writers, I think, that are on here aren't doing that yet. And
Yeah.
so, if you have limited time, like I work part-time, I've got 2 kids, I'm writing, I'm Instagramming, how do you juggle it all? So how do you kind of structure your week in terms of creating content? Both of you guys. Rachel, you can go first.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
just gonna
think
go run and get a charger, but I'm still here.
you're good. You're good. I think at the
Mhm.
beginning it was all my time and it was exhausting.
Mhm.
Now I kind of have it down where, well, I think Carrie, you probably heard me talk about this, but I test everything. I'm
Yeah.
always testing a theory. I'm always testing does this type of hook work? Does this type of reel work? Does this type of CTA work? I'm always testing something. And so what I'll do is I'll make, 5 or 6 pieces of content that tests that thing on a slightly different variation, and then I'll schedule those posts or I'll post those depending on what's going on that day. And then 3 hours tops per day. In fact, a lot of times I spend less time on it because I am doing other things. I'm reading student work. I'm, editing my own stuff. I'm doing business stuff. Like there is so much more going on besides what I post on social media. And so I go in with a very clear intention. I'm testing these things today. I have these formats and I'm looking for these results. And then once I've got that done, I shut it off and then I move forward. I also schedule in time to engage and answer comments. I do try to do as much of that per day as I can, but I am really, I'm brutal with my social media. My phone turns off at 6 p.m. every night and it does not turn back on until 9 a.m. the next day. And then I also have an app that shuts my Instagram off after 3 hours on the app.
Wow.
So if I don't get it done, it doesn't get done. And that's how I make sure that I don't. And I also, another thing, I just saw someone mention doom scrolling. I don't scroll. I don't look at other
Yeah.
content. I'm
Wow.
not a consumer anymore. I'm a creator. And so unless I'm actively trying to learn something from the community I'm on, so unless I'm learning from another creator or I'm learning from, another type of account, I'm not scrolling. I'm not spending my time absently because that wastes so much time, even mentally. Even if I'm, not actively doing it, but I did it 10 minutes ago, my brain has shut off because I'm doom scrolling. So don't doom scroll. Go in with very, very clear intentions for your time, stick to it, and then when you're done, shut the phone off. How
I
Yeah.
about
think
you?
you just inspired every, including me. I mean, everyone on here is like your goals because shutting your phone off for like, what is that, 15 hours straight and
Yeah, and it's
still being able
off.
to scale like
Yeah.
to 40 plus thousand followers in a year. And you're right about the doom scrolling. And I think that a lot of people, myself included, feel like if I want people to engage with me, if I want the algorithm to prioritize me, I've got to be engaging on other pages and
Hmm.
scrolling and liking and clicking. But you are proof that you don't necessarily need to do
Yeah.
that. You're a creator now.
Yeah. There's a I think I do like 30 minutes of intentional engagement per day. That's when I go to
Okay.
people that like your stuff, Kara's stuff, people that I'm actually like, I know. I'll go engage in their stuff and then I'll go engage with some people I don't know. But after that 30-minute window is up, I don't do it anymore. And here's the crazy part. If I get distracted and I start doom scrolling and I waste that 30 minutes, first of all, that's a business opportunity that I've wasted. But again, I'm brutal about it. I'll be like, no, you wasted your time. The phone's going off. I don't care. And I'm like a little toddler. I'm like, oh, but I have to do my Instagram today, and I can't. And it's crazy. But scientifically with Instagram, so it's engineered to get you hooked in a dopamine loop.
Yes.
And
It's
so it is
addictive.
engineered to actually make you chemically addicted to your phone. And I
Mm-hmm.
have noticed that when I shut my phone off, the first few weeks I started doing this, I was actually going through a withdrawal where I would get angry, I would get anxious, I would start shaking, and I was like, I'm an addict. This is absolutely nuts. And
Yes.
so it's
Yes.
extremely important that you have hard boundaries. And if you feel yourself getting stressed about it, and that that is an indication to me that you need to pull back even more
Yes.
because
Yes.
this is a tool we use. It does not use us.
Yeah.
And then
It's really important.
it really blurs the lines. And I was just talking to a friend about this morning. Like with any other job, right? You would say like, I'm going on vacation. I'm not looking at my work email. I'm not doing
Yeah.
work. But it's like, because we are all passionate about writing and reading and
Yeah.
book stuff, and because social media is so addictive. And if anyone else is like me and worships at the altar of Mel Robbins, she has a great podcast on how
Yes.
addictive social media is. Oh, it's amazing. Um, Totally agree. I would love to also just add to this, and Kara, you may have thoughts too. For me, I definitely don't have 3 hours a day to be on like creating content on Instagram, although I probably am doom scrolling a lot. What I really try to do is schedule 1 2 hour block a week. For me,
Yeah.
it's on Friday mornings because I don't work on Fridays, where I can just create all my content for the week.
Yeah.
And one thing I actually learned from Rachel is that you do not need to like go insane in Canva. I actually am like trying to emulate what I'm seeing you and like some other big accounts doing, where it's like
Yes,
literally
it
just
works.
a picture or a video of like you or you're walking or it's some pretty place,
Or
and you
my
just put
cat,
text.
Jackie, shows up all the time.
Like, I mean, sometimes when I'm promoting like my books, I'll really go aesthetic, but like not every post needs to be like a 2 hour production. Figure
Yeah.
out, I think it's Book Huddle. She said when she started, she was like, if I can't make a post in 5 minutes, I don't make it. And
Yeah.
that's my cutoff. And that's how you can sustain an account with very limited time, I think.
Exactly.
Kara, anything to add to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I also schedule my stuff. I'm at the point where, like I said, my PA Andrea, she's like, I just threw a bunch of like blank shells in there. You can throw whatever you want up. I know not everybody can afford a personal assistant or a publishing assistant right now. She does very little work for me, but the 5 minute rule seems to be, well, she doesn't do very little work. She's
Yeah.
got a lot of, but she makes her stuff for me like in 5 minutes and moves on to the next thing. So it's very helpful that way. I'm in a pretty different position than most authors that I know right now. My children are adults; they don't live here, so I have a lot of free time to severely focus on my authorship and everything. And because because Instagram has that addicting thing, and because it's that
Yeah.
I really do. I like and I comment everything at one time. I will engage with people in DMs at this point. And it is, Rachel, it is really weird how you said autopilot, because it kind of is on autopilot right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I still have to maintain it a little bit, but that's just for my own.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And by autopilot too, what I basically mean by that is if you show up to your Instagram and you kind of already know what you're going to do and you're not freezing or freaking out because you don't know what to post,
mhm,
that means you're in the right spot. That's
yeah.
exactly where you should be.
I totally agree. I want to do a quick time check because I know it's 12:40. Rachel, do we have you till 12:45 or 1?
You can have me as
Beyond.
long as you want. I'm
Okay. All right.
here.
We
Yeah.
have a few more really great questions that I want to make sure we get to. I just one quick more thing to add to this because I know people are always looking for ways to like work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
When I started this account, convinced myself that I had to post every single day if I wanted to grow my account. And I think there is a lot of information out there that says that that is the case. But by Christmas, I started in July. By Christmas, I was so burnt out on Instagram. I was
Mhm.
like, I'm taking a 2 week break. I don't care if I lose all my followers, which I didn't, by the way. And I came back and I was like, my New Year's resolution is to not post more than 4 times a week. And I've really made myself stick with that. And my account has continued to grow. It's slow and
Yeah.
steady growth. But like for me, for my mental health, I needed to do that. And that's fine. So like
Mhm.
don't, I think listen, if your goal is to get to like 100,000 followers, then you do maybe need to treat it like a full-time job or a
Yeah.
serious job. But if you're just trying to slowly grow your presence, you don't need to kill yourself to do that.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I
Yeah.
post 3 times a week, and I'm lucky enough where people ask me to collaborate with them, so they usually end up doing that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I post my stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it just so happens to work out that I've built enough relationships where I have that freedom to really just keep it to those days. I schedule them. And they go.
Yeah.
So I would love to talk a little bit about, we have a question here from Liv Reads It All. How do you advertise and what's brought you the most success? I think we've talked a lot about what I would call like more organic advertising.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about the role of like actual paid ads in both of your marketing models. And just for context, I've actually never placed an ad on Instagram or TikTok or
Mhm.
anything, but this week I was like, I'm going to try it as an experiment leading up to this live because I just want to see what happens. And I don't think a lot of people are transparent about like how much they spend, what impact it has. So I'll just say real quick, I placed an ad on, I think Wednesday, $15 over 3 days, which is nothing. It's like, okay, that's like a sandwich for lunch. I can do that on my editing business just to see what would happen. And I got
Mhm.
like 20 new followers so far. The ad's not done. I got one person reach out about submission package services, which for me, it was like I'd pay $15 to get a new client. That's fine.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is Instagram told me that ad would reach like 4,000 to 15,000 people. And as of last night, it had only reached 700. So I was like, that's interesting. And then a friend told me if you're not going to spend like at least $20 a day, it's not even worth it. So what about you guys? Have you guys played around with ads at all? What have you learned?
Who goes
Um,
first?
I sorry, sorry,
You
Rachel,
go.
you can go first.
No, I was like, who goes first? I don't know. You have to cue me in because I'm
All
like
right,
not
Rachel,
good
you
at it.
go. It's
Okay.
all you.
Well, I'll preface it by saying that I am learning ads. I'm not the ads expert. If you want the ads expert, her name is Maria Went. She's actually
Yes.
got 500,000 followers. Her ads course is the best course I've ever taken. Um, she recommends spending 50 to $100 per day. Now
Okay.
that sounds like a lot, but I will say this. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have $1,000 to just throw at ads, you're probably wasting your time.
Yeah.
And that's because the algorithm, first of all, it straight up lies to you. I mean, you just say it lies to you. It does. It lies.
Yeah.
It's going to reach this many people. It's not going to. There are ways to input information that the course that I took from her goes over, and it's absolutely outstanding. As of today, spending $50 a day for about 10 days. My return has been about, well, 8% conversion rate, about $500 on each $50 that I spend. That's crazy good, right?
Yeah.
But it's because I invested $300 in a course, took the course 4 times, had a few trial and errors, had some money that I threw away, but I actually didn't waste it because I learned from it. So that's the other thing too, is when you learn from something, that's not a waste either. So I paid that money for that education. Now it's starting to convert. And what it does too is it kind of changes your mentality because, okay, now my ads are converting. I'm making a sustainable income. I'm reaching more people that I don't have to worry about posting. Now I can go back into my other channels like my Instagram or my email and I can play around. I can experiment. I don't have so much pressure on my posts anymore. They can do whatever and it's fine.
Mhm.
I think it brings you so much peace because you're like, I know this works, so I can just fool around on Instagram for a while and see what happens. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think keeping track of like that was also what I was going to do is like what's my ROI in terms of like how much did I
Yeah.
pay for each follower I got, for each sale I got, like keep track of
Yeah.
that data and figure out where it like kind of optimizes for you.
Hmm.
Um, Kara,
I
what do you think?
Oh, well, I haven't gotten any. So for Ashes, my book too, I decided to put money into advertisements to get ARCs, so get advanced
Yeah.
readers to review my book. And I had tried it in the beginning because I was curious. I didn't really get any hits. Like I got like 6 people that signed up over like a 2 week period. I strongly recommend doing a budget and doing a day duration. Do not just let it go because I know people who have lost lots of money because they forgot to turn off the ad. So always set
Yes.
the duration.
Yes,
um,
that's right. You can have it run
mhm.
indefinitely. And
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
for some people, maybe they want to set it and forget it, but probably most of us do not.
no,
For our friend in the
no.
comments, the course is called Ads Are for Everyone by Maria Wen. I'm going to put it in here.
Amazing. Thank you, Rachel.
Fine.
I've been
Yeah.
following
No
her for a
gatekeeping
while
here.
too. Her page is great.
I'm
Um,
actually meeting her in October. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, she's like
She's
a
my
celebrity.
hero. I know. Anyway, that's the course. Everyone go. It's the best investment you'll ever make. I
that's
promise.
awesome.
That's
I
amazing.
but for my book too, I had gotten a little bit more comfortable in the brand that I was trying to give. I had a really good voice. I started having a lot of people, like it was at the point where I don't have to like request followers. I was getting 10 to 15 a day. So I was
Wow.
like, what the hell? I'll do it anyway, right? I'll do it again. And I got the right visual to match the right thing. And I was only doing 7 days a week. I was only doing $10 a day. And I probably got out of a 2 week campaign, I probably got over 150 ARC readers. Now, I didn't make money on that, but I got reviews. So it's kind
Right.
of like,
Well,
But
and
yeah,
that
this is
word of mouth is going to make you money.
yeah.
yeah. And this is what I wanted to say as well, whether you're an indie author, especially if you're an indie author, but with a trad, when you're a trad author as well, it's like you are starting a small business. I don't think that most writers necessarily have a business mindset, but it behooves you to try to gain one and learn about what it is because anybody else who's starting their own small business, especially as like a sole proprietor, is going to realize I'm going to have to like sink some money into this before I start seeing
Hmm.
returns. But I think with
Yeah.
authors, we're expecting like to break even 2 weeks after our first book is out, or not spend that much up front and just have it all be gravy. And it's like I consistently see on threads, trad authors, indie authors, doesn't matter, that it usually takes like your third, fourth, fifth, 10th book before you're really starting to see that exponential profit
Yeah.
growth. And that's because people buy your backlist, right? And
Yeah.
now all that money you've invested is starting to pay off. So you do, like you said, Rachel, and you too, Kara, have to have this mindset of like, you might not be making money off of it exactly like on a budget spreadsheet, but it's an investment that's going to pay off longer term. And if you stick with it long enough, you are going to see that payoff.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's a woman who has a Substack. She's really, really cool. Her book, Thousand Words of Her Summer, came out last year. She's very, very transparent about everything. She is traditionally published. She got $34,000 or $32,000 upfront as a, signing bonus. I don't remember what the technical term is. And then she wrote, I hit the bestsellers. I did all this stuff. Now it's a year and a half later. I make $32 a month if I'm lucky
Yeah.
because of the way that publishing works for everybody.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
I always try to keep in mind
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And full transparency. I mean, so when I started my business, I was in a tough spot. Like, I don't know who knows that about me, but like I lost my job and it was a whole nightmare. I spent $10,000 of my own money on my business and worked for free for 6 months before I even made a dime. And in
Yeah.
my first year, I made under $1,000, so that was 2024. And then the next year started looking like a real job. But I had to invest $10,000 of my own savings before anybody even paid me 10 cents. And like my first sale was like $10, and I had one sale that month. And I was like, great, $10, we're doing it. So
Yeah,
it
you
really
made
is
your
like a
first
mindset.
$10. I mean, if you were in like a
Yeah,
brick and mortar, you'd have that framed on the wall. Maybe you do have it framed on
exactly.
your wall in your office. Yeah.
I should. I
I,
should like put it out somewhere.
I didn't go into any of this thinking I would start in editing. I'll call it a side hustle because it's not a full-time anything. But
Yeah.
what I did do is I did
Right
a lot of
now.
beta reads, a lot of swaps, just
Yeah.
offered to help people. Again, I worked for free for
For
six
free.
months for free, not thinking
Yeah.
I was really working, just thinking this is how you make connections, and it is. And then all of a sudden, about 4, 5, 6 months in, people are like, why aren't you paying for this? This wasn't a beta read. This was a developmental edit. Like, can you help me with my query letter? And
Yeah.
that is also another model because then by the time I started charging, I had this whole pipeline of people who knew me, connections, knew my work. The people I did
Yeah.
it for free were willing to write me testimonials. So
There's your
think,
word of mouth
don't
right there.
don't expect to make money in your first 6 months, I think is a good, or even
Yeah.
first year.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I'm not gonna say I got lucky because I worked really, really hard for that, but what I was able to do is it's not the norm, right? Most people who go into business with themselves are in the hole for years. Like, I have been, really, really blessed to have people that have backed me and have people that support me. But I work really hard. I work 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours per week. I get up at 4 in the morning. I don't go to bed until late at night. It's not, if you don't have that time to put in, that's fine. It's totally fine. Know that it's just going to take you longer. You're not doing anything wrong if you can't turn it around in under a year the way that I did. That's just how
Yeah.
much time I had to put in. I was doing nothing else with my time. I didn't have a regular job to go to, and I was really, really desperate because I had nothing. So it's not that, oh, if I can't do it under a year, I'm a failure. It's no, no, no. You just have to put in the time. You can't build muscle if you don't put the time in at the gym. It just
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
time. That's it.
Progress, not perfection.
I do
Exactly.
want to say that I'm so sorry, Rachel. I do want to say we are getting a lot of really good questions
Yeah.
live. If Christina, Rachel, you're comfortable, we might not get to them because it's already 10 minutes to 1. You can feel free to DM me or just reach out on a comment and let us know because they're really great. We're just running out of time.
Are there any, Kara, that you saw that you want to make sure we answer? I think there was one. Let me see here. No, I didn't write it down. Oh, how do I switch my target audience? I wanted to just touch on this real quick rather than take time to answer it. I have Kara and I did a webinar all about targeting on Bookstagram and how to define and cater to your target audience. It is a free webinar. It is linked in my bio. It's on YouTube. So I would say watch that. And then, yeah, DM us if you have questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. We have all of our live talks on YouTube as well. That was a good call, Christine.
Um, the last question I would love to close on because I think we've all done some of this, and I know me and Rachel are definitely doing this. The question comes from Grace P. Rose writes, she said, could marketing too much before you publish be detrimental? Her specifically, she's on submission with trad publishing. So she said before you get a publisher, but I think either way, could marketing too much before you get a publisher be detrimental? What do we think?
I think it
Rachel, you
depends
could go
on you.
first.
Yeah, I think it depends. So obviously with traditional publishing, Christine, you probably know this, but there's only so much you can say. Otherwise, the publisher's going to be like, "What?"
Yeah.
But in general, so a couple things to think about. One is your personal capacity for posting content. If you can post high quality content every single day without fail, then it's not too early. What's more important is, if you're like, I'm not sure if you can plan 6 months ahead of time whenever you're going to publish, no matter what high quality posts to talk about every single day, that's going to be way more effective than posting willy nilly a couple years in advance. And I've actually made that mistake. I was talking about the Song of the Blackthorn Tree, and I was like, wow, I'm going to post about this every single day. And then a bunch of stuff changed, and I was like, oh, crud, I got to switch things around. And so I'm not talking about it right now, but I am going to start talking about it again 6 months before the potential publishing date that I'm not ready to announce, but
Ooh.
I know. So it really depends on you because to circle back to something we talked about earlier, I post 4 times per day because I'm experimenting. I'm playing around. I'm having fun on Instagram. I love it. That's great. But one piece of very, very good, effective content will trump 4 pieces of really shitty content every single time. And so
Mm,
if you can create high quality content in high volume, do it. But if you need to take a step back and learn how to do it, do that first and then start marketing your book.
yeah. I totally agree. And what I would say, like building off what you just said about you were talking about your book, then you stopped talking about your book. I've been talking about Kingdom of the Owl for a year and it's been on submission for almost 4 months. And I'm a realist. It could die on sub. And then what am I going to
Yeah.
do? Am I going to self-publish it? Am I going to sit on it and have it a backlist for? So like I've been marketing a book for a year that like I have no idea when it's going to come out. And that there's
Yeah.
risk involved in that. And there are
Mhm.
days where I'll have people DMing me like, I can't wait to read it. When can I get it? And it kills me because I'm like, I want to strike while the
Yeah.
iron's hot and the iron's hot and I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I think it is a personal choice. Where I landed is I'm going to talk about that book no more than once a week on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm going to figure out, and again, this being Kara go into this in the webinar in depth, who is my target market? For me, it's a mix of readers and writers. And I'm going to have content that caters to them on the other 3 posts a week that I do
There
so
you
that
go.
I have this broader audience that is not just about this book that has no publication date. And
Yeah.
Kara, what do you think about that one?
I mean, I'm just going to add on to what you guys said. I mean, the general rule of thumb first is do 80% value, 20% like sales, I think,
Mhm.
selling to people. That's a general rule. Other people do 30-30, something else. I like the 80-20. From an indie author's, what's that?
That's me. I'm like, I don't know. I just do whatever.
Well, I took the master class, and then I've heard other people. I've taken a lot of, so everybody has a different number. I like 80-20.
You're good. You're
Um,
good. No, there's no wrong way to do it, I think.
Between
right.
the 3 of us, we know what we're doing. Just.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all like just try, right? And
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, try something else. But from an indie perspective, the experts say to start talking about your book 6 to 9 months in advance because, like Rachel has said, people need to see it more than once. They need to see it 7 to 14 to 21 times before they start actually remembering it and different
Yeah.
things. And there's so much you can do with publishing your book, like all of the launch date and the cover reveal and all that stuff. Um, don't do it too early though, because there is a too
Yeah.
early, right? Like, and
Yeah.
it really is just finding a balance. I hope I answered that question. I'm not sure I did or not. So
No,
I
I,
also
I
will
think you
add
did.
to, oh, sorry, Christine.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. I was going to say too, another marketing principle that I think, if this hasn't been like explicitly stated before, urgency. You cannot sell anything without urgency. And
Oh,
so
it's so good.
if you're posting about a book that you don't have a release date for, can you sell it? Yeah, there's no one saying that you can't, but you're going to be a lot more effective and you're going to waste much less of your time if you have a grab it before this date type of pitch, or if it's like get hyped up for this date, because there's something that happens in our brain. We perceive urgency as scarcity, and then we want to be on that train. We're like, oh, I'm gonna miss out, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just saying, hey, in the frame of your life, this is where this fits. It fits on this launch date. And then it gives your reader context. When they have context, they perceive value. And when they have value, they can make a decision whether or not to buy. And that's how you sell anything, not just
Oh
books,
my
but
God.
anything you want.
So good.
Right. Well, and even to like sort of put some icing on that cake that you just gave, I have someone who makes handmade hardbacks for me, and I kept selling them as handmade hardbacks. And then I don't know why I had like a little light come on, and I'm like, they're fucking special edition. Why wouldn't I
Yeah,
sell it as special edition? I started selling it as special edition, and I've sold, even when I sold out in Nashville, I was still selling the special edition on on Etsy, and I sold 3. So it's like
that's amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
wording matters.
I think it's a great lens, and hopefully folks will go back and rewatch this and jot some of these principles down, because we picked the absolute perfect person in Rachel to talk about marketing. Um, you have blown me away. You know so much more than I ever could have expected. But I think thinking about that as a lens when you're creating any of your content, how can I create a sense of urgency here? How
Exactly.
can I create a hook that's going to get people to continue to interact with me? Is an awesome way to think about it. I know we're coming up on the hour. We could talk probably all day, and maybe at some point we
Literally.
will.
I could be here all day.
Um, we want to thank you so much, Rachel, for being here with us. I learned so much. I can't wait to rewatch this. We always love to leave folks with a call to action for each of us. So, what would
Yeah.
you like to ask the folks watching this to do?
Well, my primary thing right now is if you go to the link in my bio, I can help you finally write your book this year and finish it. And I also have a course on Instagram. So if you would like to know more about that, just send me a DM and I'll send you the link for the information on my Instagram course to learn how to do Instagram the way that I do.
Oh my God. Love that so much. And I think what's really cool is the three of us all do slightly different things. So for me, if you have a book that you were looking to publish and you need it edited, developmental edited, line edited, copied, proof, any of that, I do all of those things. Or if you're looking to get an agent this year, I do coaching calls to how to approach the whole querying process. Also do submission package reviews. So query letter, synopsis, opening pages. One of my recent clients got an agent next day after taking my edits, which is
That is
my
so
claim to fame.
amazing.
That's
Vanessa, she's
fantastic.
amazing. Her agent is amazing. The whole thing is just amazing. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, follow, share our content. We'd love to engage with
Yeah.
you. And Kara will go. But if we didn't answer your question, we're going to post this, put it in the comments. We promise we will answer it.
Yeah,
Kara?
absolutely. And I love talking to both of you. And we do a little bit of a different thing, but I think it's so cool to be here and offer your different opinions and still kind of have a really great outcome. I am actually starting to do indie publishing consulting. I've done everything from making the book to distributing the book to after the book stuff. After the book comes out, selling the book. There we go, the words. So I love to help you or anybody discover their own way to have their publishing career. If it
Mhm.
is trad publishing, I will encourage you to do it. I don't know that process, but I'm not going to be like, no, you have to do indie. But I help you figure out what you want with your career. And then if you do want to do indie, I can help you build a strategy with that. And I have evidence that it works now. But otherwise, we do have the
Social proof.
Yes.
um, we do have the YouTube channel, so check with us there. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, DM. I do not keep my stuff closed because I like to talk to people. So that's it.
And come back next month. We will be announcing the date for the next Writing Coffee Talk shortly, but we are going to have newly minted Amazon best-selling romance author Linny Mack. She has 6 book deals under her belt, so she's going to be
Wow.
talking to us all. And she literally published her first book over this in May, and she already has
Wow.
secured 6 book deals. And so we're going to be talking
Amazing.
to her all about her books. They're all coastal reads romance, romantic suspense, but importantly, how she navigated the traditional publishing industry to see so much success. So make sure you come back for that one. Thank you guys.
Super exciting.
Awesome.
And thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rachel. Bye.
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 This
Have a
was
great
fun.
weekend.